we're talking college hoops, headed to the Big Ten, where Michigan State is visiting Iowa.
It's Super Bowl week, and we've got a super code for you. The code is SUPER for 20% off the entire website at picksandparlays.net.
Iowa big favorites at home here, minus 10.5. The total is 157. Michigan State just 8-6 this season, and competing with Duke for the worst against the spread record at 3-11 against the number. Then you've got Iowa, who's 12-4 and 10-6 against the spread. We've got Craig Trapp joining us to break this one down. Craig, we've got a huge spread, a huge total. So where are you leaning?
Yeah, you imagine in the last, 15, 20 years getting Tom Izzo at any point of his career as a 10.5-point underdog. And I still like the favorite here in Iowa. I mean, Michigan State at such a disadvantage. I mean, they weren't playing great before they had to take the long break. But since then, they got absolutely hammered at Rutgers, come back on the road and get hammered at Ohio State. Now in a short rest, they have to travel to Iowa, I think the most complete team in the conference. And Iowa, I think, is not real happy. I mean, they've got a couple losses in their last, 5 games. They've got 2 losses, and you can't be happy about that if you're Iowa. Because, at this point in the season, you want to start to gain momentum for the NCAA tournament and Big Ten tournament. I think Iowa does so here. I like to lay the minus 10.5 here. I mean, I don't like to lay the 10.5, but I don't have a choice since it is 10.5, and I don't see how Michigan State, the one thing you have to do to beat Iowa, I think, is slow the ball down, make it a half-court game, and punish them on the glass. And that does maybe sound like something Michigan State could do in years past, but this year has just not been the case consistently. So I like Iowa minus 10.5. I just think Tom Izzo can't figure it out. I mean, he's played 3 games in less than a week and hasn't been able to figure it out in the other 2, and I don't think you're going to against a very good Iowa team.
Right, and I talked about Michigan State being bad against the number. They're 0-5 against the spread in their last 5 games on the road, so not pointing in their favor when it comes to that. And then you've got Iowa, who's actually hit the under in 3 of their last 4 games. Granted, those totals were pretty high. Any leanings on a total here, since it's pretty high again, 157?
I mean, I would lean towards that under because Michigan State's just not scoring right now. They didn't score much against Rutgers, and they didn't do much better against Ohio State. Now, like I said, in a short, when you have this many games in this short of time, you're not fixing a whole lot when it comes to issues, especially on offense. So I think the under would be the play, especially I think when there's lopsided games, which I expected. Like if you're taking Iowa minus 10.5, you have to think Iowa's going to be up by a bunch. I think we might see a bunch of second stringers in both of these the last 5 or 10 minutes. I think this one really gets out of hand. I think Iowa wins by 15 or 20. So I would lean towards the under, but by far my better play going to be taking Iowa, fading Michigan State, because like you said, Chelsa, this team is 0-5 in their last 5 games. Guess who the other one win was on the road? Was at Duke. So, I mean,
Duke.
It's not like, So, I mean, Michigan State's just not been good. 3-11. I mean, that is unbelievable. 3-11 against the spread. And a lot of those were as underdogs here for Michigan State.
Right. And their numbers just haven't been good offensively across the board, scoring just 72 points per game, averaging 42% from field goal percentage and 32% from the 3-point line. So when you have a total that high, sometimes you need both teams to contribute. And it's not looking like Michigan State is a team that I would love to trust in that position. But that's going to do it for our college basketball talk here on Picks and Parlays. Good stuff from Craig Trapp. As always, Craig, thanks for joining us.